Hi everyone. So in the last class we have learned like what is the JDBC introduction and why we need the JDBC and what is the objects and what is the variables and once the application execution completed this secondary memory will be vanished, right? Then the data which is stored in the secondary memory will get vanished. So once the application execution completed, so we will lose the data if store it in the variables and objects. Yes, to overcome this problem we need to go for the storing all the data like into the database. Okay, so we also learned in the last session files and the database and how RDBMS is useful and what are the CRUD operations we have seen. And we have also learned like Java programs cannot communicate with the database directly. Database JDBC acts as a mediator between the Java application and the database. Right. So let's continue today, and today we have to be discuss JDBC APIs. Sun Microsystem has given the following packages. What are the packages and what is the what it is a part of the JDBC API? So we have to be discuss. So about the two packages, and so today we have to be discuss the JDBC technology. Okay, so we have to be discuss the JDBC technology. And what is the technology refers, as we have discussed already. So technology refers to a Java API which enables the Java application to interact with the database. For example, like IO stream API. So what with this help, what we can do, we can read and write the data where to do, so we can do these things. It may files or file byte string. So that is API. That API enables the Java application to read and write the data from files. Okay, similarly, JDBC technology refers to a Java API that enables the Java application to interact with the database. Right. Suppose I want to write Java application. Okay, nothing but Java program. And my program want to interact with the database. I have to be use the JDBC API. So let me just explain this in the better manner, like in the programmatic manner, so you can understand. Okay, so example, let me take this. Okay, so I'm writing a Java program and it collects the data from the user. For the user, the form has given look like at this. So I'm just drawing this diagram so you can understand it better. So this is the user and this is my form. Okay, yes. So these are the nothing but fields, like for in the form whatever the fields is required, attribute types. So these are nothing but like for email, name, user ID, password, right? And then last we have the button, submit button. So this is the form, and what I am doing here. So all this, okay, okay. So let me just take this. So this is a form, and this is a Java program, right? So this is the program, and I've written some code, right? So what happened, what I'm saying here, so I'm writing a Java programs, so it collects the data from the user. What so this is my Java program. Okay, so what I'm doing, so whatever the user, okay, so this is the user. Okay, so whatever the user filling the details, okay, so what it is doing, Java program, it collecting all the information which is required. And after user filling all these details, what is going to be happen, so in this form, like my, this is my Java program and this is the form. After user filling all the details, okay, and my Java program wants to collect the data given by the user. Okay, so what my Java program is doing, collecting all the data whatever the user is given, right? So I have to be write this program using the API, so it contains the pre-existing programs it supports for the developers, right? So what I'm doing here, okay, so user filling the details and my Java program collecting whatever the data is given by the users. Okay, so it is collecting. For how it will does that, how it will collect, by using the API. Okay, so and what does the API contains, it contains some pre-existing programs. So all the API which contains the pre-existing programs, that is help to the developers while writing the programs, right? So what happened in the next diagrammatic way, like in this case, so as in this API, like we do have this servlets API, but what is the main reason this Java program and JDBC API will do, it will communicate with the database. How, let me just draw this so you can understand it better. Okay, so suppose this is my Java program and this is my database. Okay, so this is my database and this is my Java program. And what the JDBC API will do, JDBC acts like a mediator which connects my Java program to database. So, okay, so it acts as a mediator. Only why only the JDBC API will work? Why not the Servlet API? So here in this case, what happened? The API, if I use the Servlet API, okay, if I use the Servlet API, like when I'm writing the Java program, so this program wants to execute some queries on the database, okay, and which is helping JDBC API. So my program wants to use some queries. So can I use the servlet? It is not possible. Okay, and the file IO streams. So IO streams API is also not suitable to communicate or connecting with my database. Only what we have to be use JDBC API. So let me just write here servlet API, IO streams API, which is not suitable. Only suitable is JDBC API. Whenever we are performing or executing the queries and it is suitable to communicate with the database. So I use the JDBC API to interact with the database. Okay, so Servlet API not useful. JDBC API is used Java program to communicate with the database. Means executing an SQL queries on the database and getting the result. Okay, so that's why we use the JDBC API. If it is a file, we can use on that time we can use the IOStream API, because to read and write the data from the file on that time we can use the IOStream API. Okay, So let me write it here. So I hope now you understand how the user will give the details and how the Java program will collect and how this JDBC API will interact with the database. And if we write some queries, how it will communicate and how it will connect with the database with this diagram. I hope it is clear. And so let me just write this note. So a Java application, what the Java application will do, it will execute the SQL queries. It will execute SQL queries on a database. Okay, and gets the result from the, and what it will get the results. So whatever we are writing the queries, we will get the results from where database, results from a database using which API? Servlet API? No, using JDBC API. For the files, JDBC API. Right. So data is stored in the database in the form of rows and columns, as we know. So that is what we call the relational database or RDBMS. RDBMS. When we come to the Java application, we call it as a principles. Okay. So in Java we have this type of OOPS principles. And can you tell me, like, does database follows the OOPS principle? No. Can you create the parent class, child class in the database? No. So do we have any keywords like extends, implements? Obviously we don't have all these Java concepts or the Java principles in the database. Okay, so the point is Java environment follow the different, and database follows the different principles, right? So it cannot be same. In database, what are the principles we have to be follow? Like, we have primary key. In Java we don't have. Our requirement is to connect them, because to perform the operations and store it permanently. So where we can store this data permanently? In database. When we whenever we want to store it permanently, okay, when we required, so on the time we have to be perform this type of operations. So we can use both or different environments to connect with the, okay, so we have to be used with the help of the middle person. Middle person is required. So its responsibility is both environments working together. So what is the middle person will do? It will connect from JDBC Java program by using the JDBC API to the database. So what does the middle person will do? If you take an example, if a China president comes to India, so whatever the China president will communicate, obviously our Indian president don't understand. So they need some translator or the communicator who can translate. Okay, whenever they speak, a person is required who can understand the Chinese language and the English language, so that they can communicate and they will speak. Okay, they can understand, the communication can happen successfully with the China prime minister and the Indian prime minister. So they can speak with the help of the middle person. So that middle person can translate Chinese to whatever the language is required. So the communication deal will go on like that. The speak and whatever the communication, that will get settled by the help of translator. Right. Similarly, we require the middle person, nothing but what is that? JDBC, JDBC API. Right. So this is called the middle person, JDBC API. So what it will do, it will translate the JDBC call, okay, which is nothing but methods, classes, interface. So it will translate into the database calls. Okay, once see this example. If I open the notepad and if I write something like select, okay, select star from EMP, and I'm pressing enter. So what is happening? It is not responding anything. In the same way, if I write https colon double slash, okay, www.facebook.com, and what I'm doing, I'm pressing the enter. So why I'm not getting the Facebook page here? And what I'm trying to say, if I type this in SQL plus, let me open. Okay, SQL plus. So I have open. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm just typing this select star from EM. So I'm getting all the EMP details, whatever the employee details we have given. So I'm getting all the employee details here. So in the same thing, if I type this in the notepad, it is not getting opened. Why? Because it is possible it would have execute notepad, but in the notepad it is not possible. Okay, it don't have the capacity like whatever the SQL plus. SQL plus is an application and notepad is also application, but notepad doesn't have this type of capacity, whereas SQL plus has this type of capacity. Like SQL plus, whatever the programs we are writing, but it will translate and it will execute. So these applications are the program written by using some languages. Okay, so SQL interacts with the database and executes and get the result. Okay, similarly, if I type the URL in the browser, what will happen? It will open the browser, and whatever the application we required, that will open. In Safari, all these are applications like whatever we are installing and uninstalling, like a SQL application. Okay, so we can do. So it will redirect whatever the, if we want to, I want to open the Facebook page, it will open, because that has that capacity. In the notepad it doesn't has this capacity, right? So SQL application has the capacity to connect with the server, but not the notepad. Does not, it does not have this it does not have the capacity. Like similarly, my Java application want to connect with the database. It has a translator who is a mediator, which is nothing but the JDBC is a mediator who translate the Java application to the database. For this, we require the JDBC driver. Okay. For this, what we required? JDBC driver. We require JDBC driver. Okay. So we required a JDBC driver, and so let me just write a note here. Here I have. Okay, so this is my Java program and JDBC API. So we require the JDBC driver to communicate with the database. Okay, so Java applications uses the, let me write here so you can understand what it will do. Java application uses the JDBC drivers. Java application uses JDBC drivers as a intermediaries to connect with databases and execute the queries. And execute the queries. Okay, JDBC driver will translate the JDBC calls to the database calls and execute the queries and retrieves the result from the database to the Java application. Here we have seen by this diagram. Okay, so what the JDBC, it will communicate with the JDBC driver because we need the driver is JDBC driver is nothing but whatever we are, it will like approach in the browser. um, so it will communicate with the database, right? So our programs works with the JDBC API connecting with the database, and from the database to retrieve the result and provide it from the database, it retrieves the result. Okay, and will be provided back to the whom Java program. Okay, so my program, then it will decide my program either print them or use it for that purpose. So what is the requirement? My requirement is like if I have a employee tables. Okay, if I have the employee table, then I want to get the joining date of that employees, which means my database, what my database will do after getting the joining date of the employee, I don't want to display them. So what my Java program contains, it my Java programs contains a logic. Okay, in that logic, what I will write, if the experience is more than 10 years, I want to increment this salary 40%. If the experience is less than 10 years, then I want to increment the salary 30%. So such kind of logics I can write. Okay, in Java program. In Java program, so in the Eclipse, while writing the Java programs, then you can understand it clearly. So in the next session, we will do that. Okay, here you need to be understand the concept. In the Java program, we can write the logics, but not in the database. Okay, so my Java program is connecting. Okay, so I can write the logic like those who are more than 10 years, then I want to increment the salary 40%. Those who are less than 10 years, I can increment the salary as a 30%. So such kind of logics I can write only in Java program. Okay, so my Java program is connecting with the database with the help of the JDBC drivers, and what it will do, what the query I will write, it will give the result. Okay, so the it will give my database and getting the joining date of the employee based on the experience, salary will be increased or decreased. Okay, so based on the uh, experience and joining date, it will calculate. So I, because I have wrote the logic like that. Okay, I want to write that logic, and always the Java program uses the JDBC API through the JDBC drivers. Okay, it connects with the database. Now, so to talk about this JDBC drivers, okay, coming to this JDBC drivers in the JDBC specifications, which is, it means the classes and interface that are given, it termed as a specifications. Classes and interfaces, it termed as a specification. Sometimes we call JDBC API specification. Okay, for this classes interfaces, we also call it as the API specification. So Sun Microsystem divided these drivers into the four categories, which are called as four types of JDBC drivers. Okay, if we learn this JDBC drivers 6 years back, we should have known all these types of drivers. But nowadays, only names is enough. Okay, now only one type of driver category we will work at this moment, at this time. Okay, so that is called type 4 drivers. Okay, nowadays nobody is required to know about the type 1 drivers providing the connectivity between the database, and the type 2 how they are connecting, and the type 3 drivers how they are connecting. So nowadays that is not required. Only we require type 4. Whether you go with the Spring Boot Hibernate or a Spring Boot with data JPA, whatever the microservices uses, in Java through cloud. Okay, only the drivers we use is type 4. I'll just say the names. If we know the driver class names, then class name URL to connect. If you know the username and password, four values are required, and we call it as a connection properties. Right. Okay, so what are the connection properties? We will discuss now. If we know these four connection properties, then that is enough to connecting with the drivers to the database. Right. With the support of this type 4 drivers, no application uses in the real time type 1 drivers or the type 2 drivers or the type 3 drivers, only uses the type 4 drivers. Okay, we use because they are the platform independent, they are purely written in the Java language. And second one is performance. Okay, so they will directly connect with the database. Which one? Type 4 drivers. Okay, with the performance improved by, because we are using the type 4 drivers. Initially when JDBC technology introduced long back in 1995 or 96, when the Java is introduced, they use only one type of category. On the time, obviously only the first type of one type of category is available. They are called the type 1 category drivers. Later on, because of the type 1 driver issues, what is introduced? Type 2 drivers are introduced. After some issues, now type 3 drivers are introduced. But now in real time, okay, in this generation, now in real time, we use only type 4 drivers. Okay, so let me give you the names so you can understand it better. Okay, so here I am writing the JDBC technology has provided the four types of drivers. Technology. How many? Four types of drivers. So first one is JDBC, ODBC, bridge drivers. Okay, JDBC, JDBC, ODBC, bridge drivers. And the second one is native API, partly Java drivers. Native API drivers. Native API, partly Java drivers, or just say this native API, Java drivers. And third one is nothing but network protocol driver, which is pure Java drivers. So why do we say call it as a pure Java? Because it is completely written with the Java program. Okay, third one and fourth one, like native protocol, pure Java drivers. This third one is nothing but network protocol drivers. And fourth one is nothing but a native protocol, pure native protocol. So it is a pure Java drivers. Now I can explain. Um, but what is the end, learning result of learning? So what is like which is not required, because nowadays we are using the only the native protocol drivers, which is nothing but the pure Java drivers. Why we don't require this three drivers? And because this is when earlier it is introduced in, when the Java is introduced, on the time we have used it. This is like unnecessary knowledge now. Okay, only just name is enough, only for our better understanding. Okay, so native API are the partly drivers. So this is like you have to be complete the advanced Java as soon as possible. Now every fresher, like for everyone it is required. So why? Because it is mandatory that we have to be learn spring boot microservices. So within this market, if you want to stick in one technology, you need to be learn the latest technologies, like type 4. Okay, in future, like when you are learning hibernate or the spring boot or the microservices, only we required to need to learn is type 4 drivers categories. Okay, in all the Java real-time applications, we only one thing we required is type 4 drivers categories. Okay, and the network protocol, that is also comes under the pure Java drivers, and native protocol pure Java drivers. It means like completely developed in the Java. Okay, so that's why we call it as a platform independent. Means I can use with Windows, various platforms. Okay, Windows as well as Linux, Macs, all this Type 3 and the Type 4 drivers I can use in all the environments, Linux, Mac, or Windows. So when it comes to the type 3, it do not connect directly with the database, because you can see this diagram. So let me just draw this. Okay, so when my Java program JDBC API connects with the type 3 driver, it connects with the middleware. And what is the use for this middleware? There is another name for the middleware, we call it as a gateway servers. Okay, so how does it connect, we have to be seen now. Okay, so what I said, first my Java program. So this is my first Java program. So here, this is my Java program. And in Java program, like which technology I use to connect with the database? JDBC API. And so this is the type 3. As now I'm discussing about the type 3. So let me write here type 3 driver. Type 3 driver. So, and now I required one middleware. Okay, so here, this is the middleware. For the middleware, we I told the another name, which is nothing but the gateway server middleware, or the another name is gateway server. Okay, so this is it, and here this is a this is nothing but the type 1 and type 2 drivers. So middleware, how it has to be connected to the database? Type 1, type 1, type 2 drivers to connect with the database. This is my database. Okay, so it is my first JDBC API connects with the type 3 drivers, then it will connect to the middleware, then again it has to be connect with the type 1 and type 2 drivers, then finally it will connect to the database, right? So what happens if it is again it has to be connected with type 1, type 2, then it connects with the database. By doing this, performance is going to be decreased, right? In this Java program, the performance is going to be decreased. Again, in the middleware is supporting, but in by using this type 1, type 2 drivers, the performance is going to be decreasing. So why this type of categories is given? Because your Java program no need to think of the database. Today I may connect with the Oracle. Okay, tomorrow I may connect with the MySQL. So who will take care of middleware? Okay, who will take care of all these things? If I want to change the database, any of the database, then only the middleware will take care. Okay, whenever the database change, like day after tomorrow, some other database like PostgreSQL, only the database is changing. and middleware is taking care of my program. So it will take care if my program is safe, because my program not directly connecting with the database. Some program, some middleware or gateway server is required to connect with the database. So just now I have given the example, right? So based on that it will work. So my program do not need to change any code. What is the advantage? Why this category of the drivers are given? To make my program independent database, irrespective of the database, like MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL. But my program does not need any changes, only type 4 drivers is enough. Okay, so type 3 drivers will connect. Type 3 drivers will connect with the middleware to the database. It's my program responsibility. So the only the drawback is nothing but the it decreases the performance. Okay. Drawback is performance. Many connections are there in this diagrams, right? If whenever we are using, so my system, and I need to install the, and what I need to install this when it wants to connect with the database, I need to install the middleware. Okay, so one more server I need to install. It is a extra software. So we don't prefer this apart from the type 4. So it has no middleware. Type 4 does not have middleware. So there is one issue we need to face. Example, let me take this. If you purchase any devices which is Z Flip or fold devices, now these are phones are trending, right? iPhones. Okay, so which cost like 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs, and so it has a many trending features and AI technology based. But even though like some features may miss, okay, there is no product without mistake, whether a smartphone or the watch, iPad or the Buds Pro, FE, anything. So do you have any product without defects? It is like highly impossible. Without defect there is no product. So it will test, everything will be done, but there is some drawbacks. We cannot say completely it is a defect, but might be there is a side effects or the drawbacks, right? If there is a product without defect, then the development will stop the productivity. Similarly, in type 4 drivers also directly cannot it cannot connect with the database. If the database changes, you need to be change the driver. Then it is again a big work. If the drivers is connecting with the Oracle, then we have to be use the Oracle drivers to connect with only Oracle. It connects with, okay. If what if my Oracle driver connects with the MySQL? It doesn't work like that. So whatever the database we are using, so we have to be use that type of driver. If we are using Oracle, then we have to be uh, connect with Oracle driver, right? We cannot connect with the MySQL. Means in my program I have to be changed to driver, which means my database is dependent. Okay, with the type 4 category, but it is a fast because it directly connecting with the database and purely developed with Java. So I can use any environment like Windows, Linux, or Mac to get this advantage. Issue is performance. Okay, issue is performance. And what it will do, it accuracy, fast platform independence. So drawback is nothing but my Java program has to be changed to type 4 driver based on the database. So the database is dependent in the real time project. Once you start the real time project, okay, once the project started, in the middle we cannot change the database. If my project use the PostgreSQL, then we cannot change it to the Oracle MySQL, because to migrate one database to the other, okay, another database with all the data constraints, procedures, functions, project will shut down. Okay, it will take some time, right? 3 to 4 days. So if this happen in the real time, if 4 days the project will shut down, So the business will, they lose the customers and business will go down. Okay, some that, so they will, there is a chances to decrease the business, even loss of the business. So once the database is used, it is fixed, there is no change with the other database. So that's why we use type 4 drivers, right? So here in Java, in Java 5th version, we use the, we have started using the type 4 drivers from the Java 5 version. Okay, for Java real-time projects like Java 11 version are used highly, and as well as the Java 8 version also. Okay, we have to be must and should know about the Java 8 version and 11. This Java 8 features or 11 features are very important, and Java 8 features are important because lambda expressions are the streams, optional classes. In real time, we use all those. In Java 7, generics collection with the generics, a list of employees, list of users, list of roles in the real time, list and maps to collections, right? So this everything we will use in the Java 7. Okay, in real time, type 4 drivers are used to communicate. So so let me write this one point so you can understand it. So in real time, whenever we are creating a real time project, in real time, what we use only the type 4 drivers are used. Drivers are used to communicate with the Java application to database with Java application to database. No need of type 1, type 2 and type 3. Only the type 4 is enough. Once the driver, once a driver which is nothing but the program, or we can call it as a software, or we can call it as a collection of programs. So one program is equal to one dot Java file. Okay, so one program is equal to one dot Java file. Okay, so for example, you want to open the net banking application. To create this net banking, one program is required, right? Or multiple programs is required. So multiple is nothing but customers.java, accounts.java, branch.java, transaction.java. So all these are nothing but the modules. Okay, so modules, or we can call it as a units. Okay, so because what happened, what is the use of this modularity? So we can write all the code in one program. It increase the complexity. If we find out the bug, then it is very complicated, where in which module or in which unit. So it is, it will take the lot of time, and it increases the complexity. To so avoid this, we have used the modularity or the unit system, right? So by using this, you won't get the complexity, or you will get one clarity. In future, if you want enhancement, any Java project in a single not possible, then one application, it has a group of programs, which is nothing but the modules or units. Application means collection of the programs. So JDBC drivers are also a program. Okay, so how this JDBC drivers are developed? By using the any programming language, right? JDBC drivers also contains a group of programs in any language. Java application, all these programs in Java is a pure Java, not like a program C or C++. In type 2, some programs written in Java as well as, and some programs written in C language, where in type 2 drivers. But the native drivers, which is nothing but fourth one, native drivers which we are presently using in our real-time projects, that is partly Java drivers. In type 4 drivers, many program which is used pure Java drivers application. So it contains multiple programs. In the driver programs, connection programs, statement programs, So now you have understood, right? So it is a purely written with the Java programs, type 4. So now I hope you understood the advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons of the drivers. So type 4 application written in Java only, and hence they are the platform independent. So you have to be remember this point. Okay, type 4 applications which are written in pure in Java. Okay, Java only. So that's why we call that as a pure Java, or only this type of category is used. So that's why we call it as a platform independent. And type 4 drivers cannot, type 4 drivers connects the Java application directly, or connects with the database. So they improve the performance of the Java application. What the type 4 drivers connects, it connects the Java application directly, connects with the database. It doesn't require like middleware or then type 1 type 2 drivers to connect with the database. In type 4 drivers, what happened in type 4 drivers, it connects and perform improves the performance because it is directly connecting with the database. So what is the cons, what is the advantages? So type 4 drivers in Java application makes the database dependent. Okay, in any databases change in between Oracle to MySQL, in application changes, then it required type 4 drivers in our application. So that is must and should. And so as you have already known about the three key components, like first we have discussed what is the API, and seconds we just now we have discussed like drivers, four types of driver categories. Now we have to go and learn the driver management. The next concept is driver management. So what is, we have the three major components, right? Three key components, which is API we have learned, driver just now we have learned, and we are going to be learn the driver management. So what is the driver management? API, or the JDBC API, which is a system programs, many predefined programs. So we can call it as a package. Okay, so all these predefined programs which contains in a package. So this JDBC API consists of two packages. In driver management, it contains the two packages, java.sql and java x.sql. Okay, so we will discuss what is in java.sql in Java SQL packages, like interfaces, classes, and exceptions, how we have to be used. I'll give the detailed notes and I'll explain it. So it contains two packages. Driver management contains two packages. First one is nothing but, okay, first one is java.sql, and second one is java x.sql. So these two packages are important. IO streams API, which is nothing but the java.io. Okay, collections, which is nothing but the java.util. Okay, so this one you have learned it in the core Java, right? Like the basic language features are given in java.lang, which is nothing but wrapper classes, integers, string, buffers, string filters, thread errors, exceptions, etc. So this is a like uh, so in you have learned all this in the core Java. So what is the difference between these two, java.sql and java x.sql? So I'll give the pros and cons, as well as um, have you noticed like what is the difference between, and in Java SQL that we have already discussed, we have learned it in the core Java applications. You something, what are the importing, like on the time we have to be used java.util, dot list, java.util.map, or set, java.io file input, like that, so on we have used this. And java x package, which contains, so all these things comes under the core Java. But in Java x.sql, you might haven't heard this in the core Java. And so X means nothing but the extended features in Java. Okay, so Java X package contains the extended features in Java. Okay, so the difference between java.sql, Java X.sql contains the extended, or we can call it as a enhancement for the features that are available in the java.sql package. Okay, so the driver software management contains the group of programs. Everything is contains the group of programs. So have you ever heard jar word in code program? Like jar is nothing but Java archive. Okay, Java archive. Jar is a file of the collection of classes or programs. It is released as a it is released and given as a jar files. Okay, when you compile .java file, what will be created? Class will be created. So let me just take this example. How does, so this is my program main.java. Okay, here I have the classes, and how you will define this. Class B and class main. Okay, then I'm just writing it like this to save the time. String args. Okay, so what is happening here? So this is a main. How many classes it contains? How many classes it contains? How to compile this program? When you, my question is how do you compile this program through the when Java C. Okay, so this is Java C main.java. My question is, whenever you compile .java file, which is .java file will be created. So dot class file, that is what is the dot class files here? A dot class, B dot class, main dot class. So every class has a dot class files. So we have three classes, right? So whenever we are writing the programs in Eclipse, or some may use the NetBeans IDE, and some may use the IntelliJ, but mostly everybody prefers the Eclipse. Okay, so we are writing the programs using the Eclipse. Initially we will write without using the Maven, and then we will write with using Maven. So how can we write this program using the Maven? So Maven is nothing but it's a build tool, and we have another build tool also, that is nothing but Gradle. Okay, but we use build tool as a Maven only. Without Maven, we cannot write or complete our entire project. So just to confirm, in the coming session, I will I will show you how we have to be write the programs with Maven and without Maven, and the difference between Java.sql package, what it contains. It contains the interfaces, classes, and exception. In interfaces, as we have discussed, how this driver, connection statements, and prepare statements, callable statements, results at metadata, database, save point. In classes like driver manager, we have uh, exceptions like SQL exceptions. Okay, so these are already we have learned in the core Java, and we are aware of this. But we have to know about Java X dot SQL packages. Here also we have the interfaces and classes. Okay, data source and the connection events, row set, statement events. Okay, pool connection. So what is the pool connection, and row set event? So I'll give the detailed description. Okay, so I will give the detailed description. So today we have learned Like what is the JDBC drivers? Four types of JDBC drivers. I hope this concept is clear for everyone. Okay, so Java application connects with the JDBC API, and JDBC API connects with the JDBC driver manager. Then it will connect to the JDBC driver. Whatever the JDBC driver, what is the database, Oracle or JDBC drive connects with the whatever. If we don't want to use the Oracle, then we can go with the SQL. And if we when we are using the JDBC driver, ODBC data source, whatever the type of database we require, MySQL, Oracle or PostgreSQL, so we can use that. Okay, so in the middleware, here in the type 4 we are not using any middleware, so we are using the JDBC API through the JDBC driver manager to connect with the database. I hope so. This got clear for everyone. Just to confirm, I hope you got the clarity whatever we have discussed today. So here I am stopping. Thank you.